on your EPFA News. The person behind the camera and so many great photos. We hear all about club talk. We meet more of the athletes that play this sport and hear all about them. From Spain, England, a young athlete from France, and from Scotland. Welcome. This is EPFA News. We hear now from one of those popular individuals who we find on the periphery of the sport.
Hi, my name's Alexandra, and you might know me as the photographer that works alongside the FA and EPFA. I started working with the WFA in 2016 as a part of the Nottingham City of Football platform that they were trying to obviously raise the bar of at the time. It involved going around Nottingham, looking at different kinds of football, from walk-in to veteran, right through to power chair. So I was asked to pop down in late 2016 to spend a few hours getting to know the sport, and that was at that time I completely fell in love, and my relationship from there with the WFA is built into what it is today. I've been asked since then to go over to do the Cup, which took place in Billund in 2018. I did the Home Nations Cup in 2017, as well as the GBG Geneva Cup in 2019, and again I was meant to go there this year, but unfortunately because of the coronavirus that didn't happen. Throughout taking photographs, I never thought this was a sport that I'd ever be heavily involved in, but it's something that I've definitely been a part of, definitely been knocked over a few times, and definitely intend to keep being a part of and working with in the future. Obviously, because of the coronavirus, it's been extremely difficult to photograph team sports throughout 2020. This is, for some of you that might not know, that it's had a massive effect on photographers right through from the wedding industry all the way through to sporting games and team photos, and it's just caused absolute mayhem. So my focal point this year hasn't obviously been team sports. It's transferred through to more independent sports. So I've been working with paddleboarders, I've been working with runners, people that obviously don't rely on a team to get them through the sport, which has allowed me to develop my knowledge of different sports and try something new. I'm hoping that obviously the coronavirus will get under control soon, and that we'll be able to return back onto the courts and back onto the team sporting fields, because this year's just been boring and it's not the same at all. Working with the power chair community and working across the world has been massively eye-opening for me. It's allowed me to see a community of people that work closely together and support each other through the massive highs and the massive lows, be that wins, losses, the loss of players, the loss of coaches, and it's just been a fantastic sport for me to get involved in. It is by far, probably shouldn't say this, but by far my favourite sport to be involved in. And it's, like I said, it's definitely something I want to continue being involved in the future. And hopefully I'll get to see you all soon and we'll get to play some sport. I just wanted to share with you 3 of my favourite photographs that I've ever taken working alongside the WFA and EPFA. The first one would be from the Home Nations Cup in 2017. It was a photograph of one of the England players, Kizzy, who had just scored a goal on behalf of her country, and the sheer joy just in that photograph is just absolutely fantastic, and it's one of the most exciting celebrations I've ever seen across the entire field of football. So that's one of my all-time favourite photographs. The second one is a personal one. It's of Mr. John Baldwin when I had the opportunity to go to St George's Park to photograph the Disability Cup finals. It's just to show what happens within a game of power chair football. I think a lot of people underestimate the talent and just how to to do what you can do on that when you're in that position. So it's just to show his talent on the pitch, and just share that photograph with you. And the third one is a photograph that I took it was in Geneva last year, and it was of one of the All-Stars players who went on to win the tournament. And again, it's just to show the pure joy, happiness, excitement, passion that all of the players feel when they're in that moment and in those games. I think it's unlike any other sport I've ever photographed, and I think it's unlike any other sport I think I will. So they're my top three.
Austrian Power Chair Football is back with a new series of online engagements with the Power Chair Football family all over the world. Let us hear more what it is all about.
Hi everybody, I'm Jakob from Austria, and I'd like to tell you about our latest project that we've just started here in the country. Now, just like in the first lockdown during spring, we have not been inactive, and we've found a new format to stay connected and to connect people in the Power Chair community all around the world. Now, this format is called Club Talk. And the Club Talk is an online conference that is held on Friday afternoon. It's a weekly online conference, and it's an amazing way to connect Power Chair players, Power Chair representatives, and clubs all around the world. Now, as I said, it's a weekly format. The first session was on Friday, and we had myself as the representative of my club, the Wild Wheels. We had a representative from Rio de Janeiro and a representative, or two representatives actually, from the Villa Skyrockets from Birmingham. It was a great session. We had a lot of things that we discussed, a lot of things that we joked about. It was a very, very pleasant meeting. And actually very interesting. It was great to share experiences and just anecdotes about, the love for the game that we all have. So be a part in the next series on Friday again, Friday afternoon. We will have another representative from Austria. We will have a German club and a club from the United States, from Phoenix. Of course, you can also ask questions during the session, or maybe if you have questions now, just send them in and we can discuss them during this in the session. I'm looking forward to seeing you all there, and I wish you a great week.
Passionate about his football and his Pokemon, let's hear more from one of Spain's cool Power Chair football athletes.
I started being a Power Chair footballer on summer 2016. I was on the Córdoba Club de Football Stadium waiting for a friend, and the Córdoba Patrimonio Atómico's president looked at me, that I was a disabled person, and thought in me like a possible footballer, possible Power Chair footballer. She told me about the project, I was all this summer thinking to accept or not, making the decision. Finally I accepted this choice, and I think it's a great decision on my life. Well, I am a really football man. I love football since I was a child. Um, and well, the feeling of being on the pitch, doing what my idols do, it's a great sensation. It's a great feeling. Oof, all of power chair is, I think, sensational. To trying to scoring goal, trying to stop the rival, uh, being with your teammates, with your coach. It's a great part of being full power chair footballer, I think. Well, Spain is not a great sport, poetry football, because anybody knows about us. The people know about basketball for disabled person and another sport for disabled person. But poetry football is not a great sport here. And well, I like to be in part of the change or of the change of this, or of people. We are trying to make a sport most recognized, and well, I think it's a great achieve to me. And well, if you ask me about achieve in my sport, in the sport, in my sport career, um, I like to well to bring to win all possible titles with my team, and well, do competitions uh, out of Spain. With the Spanish national team, why not? When I'm not on the pitch, I am a very calm person. I like to play in video games, to writing poetry, writing in general, um, and listening to music. I love rap music, freestyle music, rock music. This is who I am. But nowadays, my great hobby is catching Pokemon with Pokemon Go. I love it. I'm trying to growing up all of the days with this game. This game is part of my life. All of the day, catching Pokemons, opening the game, searching what I can see. Well, my referent always be Lionel Messi. For me, is the greatest footballer at the world, at the planet. He is incredible. I admire so much the way who he play football. He it's awesome to see Lionel Messi at TV or on a stadium, and well, he always was my reference and my idol. But if you ask me about power chair football, I think I think Momo Gelami it's a greatest power chair footballer. And Brian, the France national team, it's the best national team for power chair. Well, it's incredible. It's awesome to see them. From Spain, you watch it, and was insane, and you say, "Wow, wow." Well, it's been a difficult year for me, to me, because like I said, I am a person who love to being on the street catching Pokemons, or with my friends, with my family. I love being on the street. Um, when COVID arrives our lives, I was all the day on my room or my house. One day, another day, and you say, "Oh, I want to see the street. I want catching Pokemon. I want seeing seeing people." And well, I think it's the worst year I lived. But well, it's a thing that we must to live. Well, I try to do exercise on my room, playing video games, and finishes these video games, studying, and well, I think that's all. That's all for this awful year.
The beauty of starting to play power chair football at a very young age is that you can be part of the sport for a long time as it evolves and develops.
So I started playing power chair football in 2007/2008. I saw a flyer in a local school for some taster sessions, and loving football as much as I did and being as football mad as I was, I decided to go along, not knowing that it would lead me 12, 13 years later to be where I am, having done what I have done, and to be part of a sport that has grown so much from where we've come from back then to now, where we're international, we're bringing joy to thousands of people around the world, is something that I am incredibly proud of. So I took up the sport when I was very young. I was only 6 or 7 when I first got a bumper onto my chair. And so usually when you hear of a footballer having a 12 to 13 year career, you think of somebody starting at, making their debut at 21, going to their 33, 34 and retiring. So to say that I'm only 19 and having had a long career like I have is something I'm very grateful for. There's a lot of football left in me. There's a lot of development as a person and as a player to still come. There's a lot of challenges and a lot of events that I hope will still take place. And I'm not planning on retiring anytime soon. I think the thing that most excites me about power chair football is just how fast-paced and frenetic it is. You never know really what's going to happen. There's so much pride and passion from every player, every coach, every carer, every fan, everyone brings so much energy to the game. I think if you look back to the EPFA Nations Cup in Finland last year, every game, not just in the knockout stage, but in the group stage as well, there was so many goals, such a quality in the play that we were seeing from everyone involved. And that's just what excites me, is that the future is so bright for this sport, because there's a hefty number of young players that we saw in that tournament that have just got such long careers ahead of them. There's a lot of development, and so I look forward to seeing where the game goes next in the coming years. There's still so much I'd like to achieve in this game. As I said earlier, I'm not planning on retiring anytime soon, so I'd like to think the time is on my side. But I do feel that you can never stop developing as a player and as a person. This game teaches you so much about, determination, teamwork, trust, and these are skills that you can take both into your games on court, but into your wider life off the court. I mean, having won the EPFA Nations Cup in Finland in 2019, the natural progression is to go to the World Cup in 2022 in Australia. Granted, I'd like to be picked first. I've got to make sure I put the effort and time in to make sure I keep my place. I'd like to win the World Cup with England. That would be an unbelievable experience. But at a club level, I'd say there's still so much. I'd like to make the cup final. I'd like to win the league. I'd like to have another chance at going back to playing in our European top competition. I mean, I enjoyed it so much in Aarhus in 2016. It was such a wonderful experience for me, being so young. I think a lot happened and I wasn't really, it all seemed like a dream at points, and I'd like to have another crack at, becoming a top club in Europe. A top player in Europe would be something that would be beyond my wildest dreams as a 6-7-year-old when I first started playing. So as I said, there's so much that I'd like to set out, but just playing the game, especially after the year we've had, it's made me realise that how much this sport, this means to me, and how much of a part it plays in my life. So just not taking anything for granted and enjoying training, just enjoying having the freedom to play. Playing football is something that is an achievement for me in itself. When I'm not playing Badger football, I'm probably watching football, listening to football, anything football related. I think my parents often got annoyed with the amount of football I tended to watch. It was all I'd ever think about, all I'd ever do, all I'd ever watch, and it still is to this day. Not having football during the first few months of the first lockdown here in England was something that I think a lot of us definitely struggled with. I did as well, having to find other things to do. So I started learning Spanish at one point, just to keep myself occupied, give myself something to work on, something to learn. That being said, please don't test me on it, because I really wouldn't back myself, having learnt enough to hold a decent conversation. So realistically, football is my life, as much as it's sad to say. But I've recently started university. I've started studying sports journalism at the University of East London, so that has taken up a lot of my time. Leaving home, gaining some independence and learning new life skills, making new friends, and cracking on with uni work, of course, is something that takes up a lot of my time now that football has unfortunately taken a back seat. But I do hope that we are back soon, getting back to the game we love. My chair is in my room, waiting to be used, patiently being on charge. So I really hope we are back soon together. I wouldn't say there's just one person that I admire. I think I admire a lot of footballers, some that I've had the luxury of playing with and others that I've had the opportunity to play against. I don't want to make them feel old, but I grew up watching players, like John Balding, Chris Gordon, Ed Common, and Marcus Harrison. And so the fact that I can now call them not only teammates but good friends is something that I'm incredibly proud of, and it shows how far I've come. If I'm looking further afield from England, I think I automatically looked at Momo Galami from France. I remember coming up against him in 2016 in Aarhus and thinking this guy's a freak of nature. The thing he can do with a chair and a football was just, and still is, just out of this world for me. And so I think, like I said earlier, I admire so many footballers. I think it's just so hard to pinpoint one person that I admire the most. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that this has been the most difficult year that I've ever lived through. It's made me realise, as I said earlier, how big a part Parager football is of my life. And I learned not to take for granted all those repeated drills or those training sessions. It may not have seemed like it then, but they were the good times because we were playing football. So they're always the good times. And I'm not here saying for one moment that I've had it really tough, because there's without a doubt people who've had it far, far worse than I have. And so I'm thankful that I've kept safe, I've kept well, and my family and friends have kept well. And it's really, I think we've pulled together as a community through this difficult time to show that this sport is more than a sport. We're a group, we all pull together in times of need, and this has been the biggest time of need, the biggest threat to our sport in my career, as long as I've seen. And so it's been refreshing to see that, everyone can put rivalries aside and, come together and under the umbrella that is Parager football. From a personal point of view, I've kept in touch with teammates through social media. And as a team, we've had, training sessions through footage or through Zoom, and, just general mental health sessions, as long as, special quizzes and special get-togethers just to make sure everyone's, staying positive and staying as upbeat as they can. As I said earlier, I started university this year, so a lot of my time has gone into, moving into a new area, leaving home, gaining new skills, trying to, get through my first term. And so, whilst it's been a very difficult year, I think it's a year that I'd say I'm grateful for this year. Just to make me realise what I am thankful that I have and what I'm grateful for is this sport, is who I've met and who I've made friends with. I've made lifelong friends, so it's been difficult, but I think if I look back in a few years' time, I'd say 2020 was a year that had some positives in it.
We first met this young French athlete at the EPFA Next Generation Experience in 2019. Let's hear more about him here.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Eliott Dole. J'habite en France. Je joue à Dinan et j'ai 11 ans. Ça fait 5 ans que je joue au foot fauteuil et je me lâche jamais, donc je jouais défenseur, puis quand je suis arrivé à Dinan, je joue attaquant. Tout ce qu'on retrouve dans le foot valide, donc c'est-à-dire dribbler, frapper, marquer et puis à les mêmes postes, donc ça me fascine. j'ai beaucoup de rêves, mais mes rêves principaux, ce sont de gagner la Coupe de France. Après peut-être être en D1 et en finale être en équipe de France. J'aime bien jouer aux jeux vidéo comme FIFA 20 et un peu traîner sur les réseaux sociaux. Alors mon joueur préféré c'est Erwan Conk qui est en équipe de France. Donc c'est lui qui m'a donné envie de jouer au foot fauteuil pour montrer que c'était au final pareil que le foot valide en fait. Ça a été un peu compliqué parce que bon, on peut plus sortir, on peut plus jouer au foot fauteuil surtout. Mais au final, ça commence à se terminer. J'espère que ça va bientôt se terminer. Donc, et j'ai résisté parce qu'il y a eu l'aide de ma famille. Et voilà.
Next we find out about one of Glasgow Celtic's biggest fans in Scotland and his journey in power chair football so far.
Hi, my name's Connor Colquhoun. I have Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I'm aged 23 and from Paisley, Scotland. I started to play power chair football around 11 years ago in 2009. It was one of they had a trial event to try out the sport in Scotland. I've been playing the sport around 11 years since 2009. Power chair football excites me, so it's a fast-paced sport, and also I love football, so with my condition being able to play it is amazing. I've also met lots of other friends with all different disabilities, which has been great, and I've also met my fiancée Zoe through playing power chair football. I would like to try and win the Scottish Premiership, as that's one of the titles I haven't won and I would love to win it. Also get my first Scotland cap and maybe play at a tournament for Scotland. I like to go and watch Glasgow Celtic. I have a season ticket to watch the football. I enjoy spending time with my family and friends, and also my fiancée Zoe, and playing video games like FIFA. I admire all players that have came through all barriers to play power chair football, but the two that stand out and I look up to are Colin and Kieran. They've both been brilliant leaders on and off the park, and great players. I've survived this difficult year with spending time with my mum and dad during lockdown, then seeing my fiancée Zoe when we've come out of lockdown, and playing video games like FIFA and watching Netflix.
Remember, get in contact with EPFA News at the email below, and until next time, take care.